Welcome to Family Basics 101. I'm Dr. Bruce McClure, the local minister at the Prince George's Church of Christ, and we're located at 7800 Central Avenue in Landover, Maryland. Throughout the week, we focused on a very simplistic topic that I think will bless a lot of individuals, especially as we move into the holiday seasons. We just ended Thanksgiving. We're now going into the Christmas season, followed by New Year's, Valentine's Day. So there's a lot going on in the upcoming 3 months or so. But many people feel as if during a certain season of the year, the weather, the festivities, that this is the time of the year that it behooves them to find the right person. Finding Mr. Right, finding Mrs. Right, and it becomes a mission that many people will endeavor to pursue. And I think it becomes equally as important for individuals to ask certain questions about their mission. Monday, we talked about, well, where do you begin pursuing the quest for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right? And then we looked at who are you to you? It becomes important for a person to do sort of an honest analysis of who they are in order to determine, am I a person that is ready for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right when she comes along? And then we talked about, are you a believer in you? What is your confidence level? Not arrogancy, not misappropriated, but what is your genuine confidence level with who you are as an individual? And today, I would like for us to conclude the series by discussing go and be the true you. Go in confidence, being who you are, instead of trying to pretend and trying to make yourself honestly who you will never be, and that is somebody else or somebody else's expectation of who you might be. When we look at the ability of performance, it's rooted in effectiveness. And what I mean by that is a high self-efficacy individual increases the sense of well-being inside of his or her own psyche. So when we talk about being effective, your ability to perform is rooted in how effective are you. Now, normally in relationships, performance has sort of an erotic connotation, but relationships are not based on sexual performance. But I'm talking about how we process within our psyche the facilitation of remaining optimistic, how we facilitate maintaining confidence of a favorable outcome, embracing one's ability, even when challenges are difficult, and also facilitating seeing life as filled with challenges, yes. And that's different than seeing life as filled with threats that can lead to defeat and surrender. Let's remain optimistic. That enhances one's ability to be effective. Don't go into relationship seeking saying, well, I'll never find this person, or this person is just not out there. That's not much optimism. Be confident. Expect a favorable outcome. Embrace your abilities. Know what your own strengths are, even when challenges are difficult. Uh, Challenges are just a part of life, but your ability is equally a part of life. So just because challenges are difficult, that should not diminish the ability that's within you, regardless of the challenge. And we must also encourage individuals that you must see life, not just your situation, but life in general, as being filled with challenges that are difficult. But challenges that are difficult does not mean that you are going to be defeated. And challenges that are difficult does not mean that you're going to just throw up your hands in surrender. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, and I'll talk about that in just a second, but Isaiah says, there are no weapons that are formed against you that will prosper. Keep that in mind, and I'll come back to it shortly. Let's do a quick self-exam for relationship readiness, according to Philippians 3, verse 13. Remember now, we're supposed to forget the things that are behind, right? And we're supposed to press forward to the prize that is before us. Here's the relationship readiness test that I have for you. You either look back, you're stuck in the present, or you move forward. Those are your three options. You keep looking back and say, boy, you know, I tried and I failed. This didn't work. Or you feel stuck like, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to move forward. I'm afraid to have confidence in myself. Or you move forward and say, yes, I think I'll try this again. Do you still avoid difficult encounters due to a lack of confidence? Do you still believe that opportunities outside your comfort zone are to be avoided at all costs? Do you still spend present tense time reliving failures and hurts from the past? Or do you automatically emotionally retreat and minimize your personal abilities and confidence? If those answers are yes, 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 then I think you realize you're not ready for seeking a positive relationship, because you're either stuck and afraid to move forward, or you are still angry or discouraged or downhearted by what happened in the past. And yet the Philippians 3:13 text encourages us to forget the things that are behind. You can't erase them, but he's saying don't get stuck in them. You're going to remember them, but you're not going to live in them. They're not going to be your perpetual nightmare. How do you develop relationship readiness? According to Albert Bandura, each person has 4 sources for developing relationship readiness. Mastery of an experience. This involves performing at least one task successfully, utilizing the strengths one presently possesses. Remember yesterday we talked about Moses, and God kept talking about his hand. Moses had a gift, and God kept moving Moses. Use what you have. Master what you have. Don't keep saying, well, if I only had this. Look at the performance, the success, the strength that you presently possess, And how do you use that in developing a healthy relationship with others? Uh, Social modeling. Today, we call this having a mentor that we observe who is successful in sustaining the relationship goal that you are aspiring. Don't look at people who are just as downhearted, discouraged, angry, stuck as you might be. Move into a circle of optimism, people who at least appear to be happy, people at least who appear to be optimistic, people who you hear saying, yeah, I messed up big time. Yes, I got hurt to the core of my heart, but I woke up today and I'm resolved that today is going to be a better day. And this is how I plan to accomplish that. That's called social modeling. But it means that you must be willing to find those people and to associate with those people. Ask them questions, observe their optimism, observe their mannerism, and say, man, I think I can do that. Social persuasions, affiliating with others who reinforce your skills and ability in a positive construct of verbal and nonverbal encouragement that you are doing good and to keep moving forward. Remember the gift, the ability that you have. Find someone or circle of people who are going to reinforce, you know what? I believe if you use that same ability in a positive way, in a relationship pursuit, there's a Mr. Right or a Mrs. Right that are just waiting for that. Sometimes people can have an eloquent voice, they can have a calm and soothing voice. There are men who are looking for women like that. There are women who are looking for men who can reassure them. There are women who are looking for men who will just say, you know, I think it's going to be okay. I know it's bad, but you know, I think you can get through this. You want people who can reinforce the strength that you have, help you look back on the victories that you've accomplished. And then there's a need for personal psychological response. Now, this has to come from you for the most part, regulating one's emotions and your emotional reactions to engaging others by being aware of your own personal moods, your emotions and your physical reactions and your own personal stress levels. The best Bible illustration I have for that is when you look at Naomi in the book of Ruth. Naomi comes back to Bethlehem, Judea, if you recall the story, and she's struggling with some life events that she's been through. Has nothing to do with the people that she's embracing or around, but Naomi has to admit to the people, it's not you. You are encouraging me, you are supporting me, but I am going through something. So therefore, it's me who do not feel good about being called Naomi. I'm not feeling pleasant right now. I'm feeling bitter. But she's able to understand this is where I am. Now she's struggling with regulating it, but she knows what needs to be regulated. And she's aware of her own mood, and she's aware of her own emotions, and she's aware of how that's causing stress inside of her. And then it is going to be Naomi's responsibility to work on that if she's going to move forward with a healthy relationship. Now, Albert Bandura published a paper back in 1977 that was entitled Self-Efficacy. And in that, he wanted to talk about behavioral change and how each individual has the ability to modify that if they will tap into the resources to develop those tools. Self-efficacy determines what goals we choose to pursue. How we're going to go about accomplishing those goals, and how we reflect upon our own performance in the pursuit of those goals. It's almost like what Paul was saying in 1 Corinthians 11 as we talk about the Lord's Supper. But let a man examine himself. What goals do you pursue? Well, if I want to pursue a relationship, then I have to say, well, how do I go about accomplishing it? If you're in the pursuit of a happy relationship and you start pursuing it in a bitter, angry, hesitant, I'm not trusting manner, what do you think the outcome is going to be? Take time, as Bandura would suggest, in determining how effective have your methodology been? Why is it not effective? What should you change about it? How should your approach be different moving forward? There are some biblical concepts in fueling the will, and it is from above. If we want to move forward in relationships in a godly manner, in a wholesome manner, in a highly effective manner, then the fuel for that comes from heaven. In Romans 7, verse 18, for I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwells no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good, I find not. See, Paul said what many people who are looking for a happy relationship say. I want it. This is what I will to happen. But my struggle is not the will, it's how do I make it happen? That's what I don't find. And that can be frustrating. In 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 11, now therefore perform the doing of it, that as there was a readiness to will, so there may be a performance also out of that which you have. See, look at what you have and maximize that. Perform out of what you have. Perform with confidence out of what you have, not what you have not or do not have. Well, if I was taller, if I was slimmer, if I had more of an education, if I had a better job, if I had a nicer car, if I lived in a different neighborhood, if I didn't have children, if I'd never been married, we could make a whole book out of what we don't have. But Paul says, perform the doing of it out of that which you have. Every person has at least one strength. We call it one talent, one ability. Every person has at least one. Many people are multi-talented, multi-gifted. What is the one thing you know you have going for you that gives you inner confidence that you've allowed to be pushed in the corner? Paul says, go back and pull that out, even in relationships, and work from where you are. That's what fuels us. In Philippians 1, verse 6, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. This is the ultimate encouragement. God has begun using you. He gifted you. Be confident in that very thing, that if God began this in you, then he is going to give you. You must possess. You must be willing to work in the will, work in the determination, knowing that God is doing the same until the end of the world. Back to the Isaiah 54:17 text as we wrap up our series for the week. Keep in mind, you have been declared ready to seek a good relationship, to seek Mr. Right, to seek Mrs. Right. You've been declared ready. The question is, do you believe it? Do you believe that you've been declared? Now, you've allowed a lot of static to enter the equation, but do you believe that God declared you ready? See, it's the static in between that causes us to question and to cause us to get stuck in the past, to get angry about the present and refusing to move forward. Look at the text. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn it. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me. I said it, the Lord. The weapon. There is not an article, a vessel, a utensil, or an object that can be fashioned, created, conceived, or planned or purposed that will advance or rush upon you or overflow your prosperity in relationships. You know why? This is the heritage. This is your portion. This is the property given to you. This is the occupancy space given to you. This is the family heirloom, the crown jewel of the household that has been reserved, awarded to you because you are the servant of the Lord, and your righteousness is from the Lord. You've been declared ready. Have you allowed things of this world, material things, physical attributes, to get in the way of your readiness? I don't look good enough. I don't sound articulate enough. I'm not fine enough. Men, I'm not robust enough. I don't have enough. Those are things that are interfering with your readiness that God has already given you for relational success. Let me give you a caution as I close. Some men and some women will seek after relationships that are not meant for them. There are men who want to marry Miss Universe. You know good and well that's not made for you. So you can spend the rest of your life pursuing that. And it's probably not going to happen. There are women who want to marry the biggest rock star in the world, the most famous person in the world, the most wealthiest person, and that's probably not going to happen. Look at the ability you have. Look at the gift that you've got and be willing to accept. This is where I am in life. This is my strength. And God has made somebody that I can share this with. And I'm going to humble myself and I'm going to seek what God has given me the ability, the capacity to operate within. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning at our Sunday morning Bible study at 9 a.m., whether it's online or in person. I also invite you to join us at 10 a.m. for our morning worship service this coming Sunday. If we're not able to see you on Sunday, I look forward to seeing you again Monday at Family Basics 101 at noon. Don't be late and don't skip class. God bless each of you.